Hello, everyone. We're a couple minutes late because our guest is a very busy woman, and that's Antoinette Bruno, and she will be joining the show momentarily. I want to talk about Meals on Wheels. For 60 years, Meals on Wheels of Central Maryland has provided nutritious meals and personal connections for so many in our community in the good times and in the challenging ones as well. To apply for meals, volunteer, or make a donation, go to mealsonwheelsmd.org. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast, writer, food stylist, PR maven, and frustrated baker. As I said, my guest is Antoinette Bruno. She is the CEO and editor-in-chief of starchefs.com, that serves as an essential resource and platform for the restaurant professionals, as well as a backstage pass for the food-savvy consumers. Star Chef hosts an annual International Chefs Congress, a symposium featuring the world's preeminent culinary talent, Rising Star Awards, and the quarterly Rising Star magazine. Most recently, along with her starchef.com responsibilities, Antoinette is now president of the historic Trimper Rides and Amusements, a family-owned business in Ocean City, Maryland. There she is. Hey, hon, how's the ocean?
It's beautiful today. It's 73 degrees and the sun is shining.
I wish I can say that for here, but it's sort of back home for you. New York, now you're spending... Yeah, you're spending half a year now in Ocean City, taking over as president of Trimpers and Star Chefs, and that's where we both met, I think, during the first Congress. What year was the first Congress?
2006. It'll be the 15th Annual International Chefs Congress this year.
Let's sort of talk about that just a little bit, and I can tell people a bit about it, and the audience is just as impressive as the people coming. You have a mainstay.
I'll never forget, Dara. I'll never forget, Dara, the first year of the Congress, the year I met you, somebody sitting in the audience was Sherry Yard. Sitting in the audience, not presenting, sitting in the audience. And she sent me a note, a handwritten note, mind you, not an email, saying that she was honored to be in the audience of the first International Chefs Congress.
Oh, it was amazing. I was working on the book, Yum, Tasty Recipes from Culinary Greats. And I had fallen like 2 days before the conference, and I had a cane and a backpack. And I went around and I got people's commitments to donate recipes at that time. But the Congress, under normal circumstances, would have a main stage. They would have hands-on. I remember taking a course, a sushi course, with a chef, David, from California. I can't think of his last name. And then there's competitions, and it's really fabulous. Sponsors are there, and then you have a trade show go along with it and the meal. Obviously, with COVID, this is sort of changing a bit for the upcoming year. A little bit more about it. Can you share a little bit of light on it?
Sure. So yes, with COVID, things are definitely upside down, but we're still going to have our Chefs Congress this year. We're just going to do it virtually. And it's going to be one of the most amazing congresses ever, because we're going to take those historic best moments of the last 15 years, and we're going to stream it all virtually. You'll buy a pass. You'll be able to check in just like you check in at the Congress, except for you'll check in virtually. And there'll be demos from years past. And these are iconic moments like Joel Robuchon's sous vide egg in 2007, or Anthony Bourdain's keynote, which was kitchen leadership, or Marcus Samuelson more than 10 years ago introducing us to African cuisine. and think about where we are today with African cuisine, right?
Right.
Jose Andres in 2009 showed us Spanish cooking through an American lens, and think about where we are with Spanish cooking and what happened since then. Remember Thomas Keller in 2010 did a debate. He was part of a panel with David Kinch. It was Thomas Keller, and there was one more person on that panel. I'm trying to remember who it was. And they talked about art versus craft and the role of science in the kitchen. That was back in 2010. So these are literally monumental times in our history, in our culinary history. And we're going to be replaying those demonstrations, those talks, and everyone will, who never got a chance to see them will get to see them, and people who got to see them will get to re-see them.
Right. And I think on Star Chefs right now, there's a spreadsheet that has links to other places for Black-owned restaurants. So you're always there
Absolutely.
and sharing. I want to tell people a little bit about you because I'm proud to call you a good acquaintance, friend. Over the years, our paths have crossed many times. But Antoinette went to Delaney Valley High, and she was like this junior achievement whirlwind, and she won all these awards. She left Delaney Valley High at 16 and went to American University, and then that was in economics, but you spent your summers in OC working in restaurants, behind the bar, in the kitchen, prepping and doing all that. So after American University, if that wasn't enough, London School of Economics. Then you went into trading and sales on the New York Stock Exchange.
Solomon Brothers.
Well, pardon me?
Solomon Brothers.
Solomon Brothers. And then the allure of food. I mean, you did the economics, you had the degrees, it wasn't bringing you the joy that you wanted. So, food. So then you went to École Ritz Escoffier in Paris. Am I remembering? Am I doing okay?
You are. You're remembering my resume more than me.
You worked in Michelin star restaurants, and I remember you saying, I was a good chef, but if I couldn't be great. And so you went back.
I was a good cook.
Okay.
But would I ever be a great chef? And that was the question. And whatever I pursued in life, I wanted to be the best at whatever I was doing.
Well, so far so good. Then from there, Harvard Business School.
That was Plan B. HBS was Plan B.
Okay. Then you went into marketing. You did the Body Shop, and it was 1999 that you came into Star Chefs and totally made it this mega influencing site for the restaurant industry worldwide. You have eaten, you go all over the world, or at least you were, eating at the finest restaurants. And I think one time when I asked you, I said, what would your last meal be? You said your mother's crab cakes.
Absolutely. Still will be.
Well, you're down there. The paradigm for restaurants has definitely changed. And I did an interview with John Shields from Gertrude's. And he said through all of COVID that, he's been on different conferences, and that restaurants have to look at this as starting a new business, not trying to bring back what was. And I look at Rene Redzepi. How do you pronounce it, from
Rene
Noma?
Redzepi. Yep, that's right.
Oh, I got a gold star in Denmark, who was considered the top restaurant in the world. Not in Denmark, in the world. Many years, second, first, second. And he's opened up a wine bar and serves 2 burgers outside. So the paradigm has definitely changed. John Shields He used to have a restaurant out in California in Berkeley before he came here. It was called Gertie's Seafood Kitchen. And he's going back to doing the very casual, the very formal dining seems to be fading away. What have you seen? I can go on, but.
Well, I don't think that's particularly new news. I mean, I think in 2007, maybe it was 2008, we published an article on Star Chefs called "The Death of Fine Dining," and that was what, 13 years ago, and that was our prediction, because we saw the elite fine dining restaurants all over the country were closing because they couldn't survive. And while you say maybe you kept the top 10% of elite fine dining, everybody pursued sort of upscale casual. So restaurants that serve fantastic food, but without the tablecloth. But that's not new. I mean, that's where we've been going for literally for the last decade. I think what you see now is you see people that are pursuing their past, and they're using their roots where they grew up, and they've created restaurants that are who they are as a chef, as a person, as a cook. They're cooking from their soul, from their heart.
You see me sort of looking off. I have to run through my laptop to see if there's any questions. Oh, my sister's watching. Hi, Beth. Usually Jeffrey's there. Let me come back to some of these things. Jamie Leeds, Hank's Oyster. Yeah, you both on the board for Women Chef and Restaurateurs. She was president of it. So we've connected there. She's now doing a fresh seafood box tied in with Warshore Oyster Company. So very fresh, the Gulf shrimp, the day boat scallops. It's a great mixture, halibut, and it comes out with her sauces. So you get an assortment of her sauces. And that she just sent me a box, so that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm going to be just digging into some of this, and clams and anything that you want, people. That'll be floating up, as well as starchefs.com and Trimper's rides. That address will come up on the show. Antoinette, you having the Baltimore connection, and your alumni at Delaney Valley High was Spike Jurdy, who is at the conference quite a bit. I have a quote from Spike. This goes back to an article that I wrote about you. He said, Antoinette has something very special. Her ability to identify talent, quality, and fresh, creative thinking is one of the things that sets her apart. She has her own set of physical laws that apply to her. She is a force of nature. I call you a whirling dervish, because it's move fast, it's going on. Let's talk about right now, until some questions come in for Antoinette.
So let's what I'm doing now, it's a whole new world.
Right.
Amusement park.
Yes, you're running an amusement park, the Trimpers down in Ocean City, Maryland. And you've had your, COVID has definitely played a part in there, but there was a lot of renovations that went into Trimpers. So yes, why don't you talk about what's going on there?
Sure. I got here on March 6th, and I've spent the last 3 months, March, April, May. Actually, we're now in almost slightly past the middle of June. So for the last 3.5 months, I've been renovating the park, renovating the carousel building. And renovating is a strong word. Let's say I've been restoring the park. We've been paying attention to history. We've been paying attention to what's important here at Trimper's Rides of Ocean City, and making it as clean and sparkling and as special as ever. We also renovated all of our apartments. We have 24 apartments here. We have a shopping center. We have boardwalk games. We've redone all the boardwalk games. And the place is beautiful. We were lucky to get PPP funding a couple of months ago. And since it didn't, we couldn't open the park. We couldn't turn on rides, but we could bring people back to work and use our labor to restore the park to its original grandeur. And it's been fun. And I'm working on some food and beverage concepts. As a matter of fact, anybody listening who wants to come to Ocean City, I've got housing. I'm opening a Nana's hot chicken stand. We're going to do, I'm modeling after a hot chicken stand that my mother fell in love with, which is why it's called Nana's Hot Chicken. But one of our Star Chefs Rising Stars in Los Angeles opened up Hal and Ray's Johnny, and it's what my mom's favorite hot chicken, and she didn't even know what hot chicken was before she had it at Hal and Ray's. And so we created our own version of hot chicken, Nashville hot chicken, and that's going to open in the park hopefully soon, as soon as I get some more staff. And we're going to be doing healthy sides like potato salad and macaroni salad, and we're not doing anything fried. We're cooking in a rationale combi, so no fried, but it's going to be delicious. We're also going to do cornbread, and I was just introduced a week ago to Minnesota Pickle Dogs. Have you ever heard of a Minnesota Pickle Dog?
I have not. Fill me in.
So it's a kosher pickle, and then it's got a line of cream cheese, and then it's wrapped with very thin, lovely pastrami, and then it's rolled in wax paper. Doesn't that sound delicious?
Well, it sounds better than uni, so that's fine. I'm not an uni fan. Or that became a moving. I'll try anything. You know, I'm pretty daring when it comes to food.
Pickles and pastrami and cream cheese. Come on, what could be better?
It's sort of like the cream cheese is throwing me off, but
with pastrami and pickles, it's when somebody served me one, they one of the guys here is from Bob's Space Racers, and he did all our games, and they're operating our games. They're beautiful, by the way. I used to work in a game. I bet you didn't know that.
I did. Okay. Which one was it? Was it hitting the Cupid doll?
I worked age and weight here in this amusement park when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. At the same time, I was working at nights, waiting tables. I worked the games. I worked, we used to have something here called Gary's Games, and I worked for Gary Wolf, I also worked for Linda and Ralph Holloway doing pitch a quarter on the plate. I did that for a couple summers, and guess your age and weight. And so anyway, we have all these beautiful Bob Space Racer games, and the guy who runs Bob Space Racers, he introduced me to the Minnesota Pickle Dog, and I fell in love with it. And we're going to do Minnesota Pickle Dogs here.
Well, you're doing a farmer's market now as
yes,
well, aren't you?
So
and that's new.
So I came to Ocean City, and there's no farmer's market. You have to drive to West Ocean City to Berlin, or you have to go to all the way up to Fenwick Island. There's no farmer's market here, and I cannot live without a farmer's market. And plus, I had all these employees, and I had nothing to do with them other than the renovating the park, and I wanted to make people smile. And what better thing to do for a community is to start a farmer's market and bring a place where all the community can come together. And that's what our farmer's market does, and it's pretty special. And we have great seafood at our farmer's market, and great fruit, and great vegetables, and it's agricultural based. Everything has to be agriculture. It has to be grown by the farmer, or it has to be made by the farmer from what they grow. And it's super exciting. And it's really quite special to have your own farmer's market.
It's your own. Have you ever had your own farmer's market? I mean, you built it to your own specs, that's for sure.
It's fun. It's it's just another element, another exciting thing to do. And you might be able to take the girl out of New York. Well, you took the girl out of Ocean City to 3.5 decades ago. So you got to meld my passion for food and the amusements together. So we'll have a farmer's market.
Make it work. Well, yeah, you have to put your thumbprint on it. It has to have the Antoinette Bruno thumbprint. I have a couple questions that I tend to ask, and I have talked about in the past. What is your epic culinary fail?
Epic culinary fail.
Biggest culinary, or the funniest, or saddest, whatever, your culinary fail.
Okay, so I would say this would date back to what year was that? 1990, summer of 1990. I was it could have been the summer of 89. I was living in the south of France. I was working for Roger. Well, actually, I was working for a different Chez Calio. I was working for Chez Calio, and I was an American, and I was one of the few Americans in the south of France working in kitchens, and I was probably the only female working in a kitchen in Nice. And Roger Verger had been hired by Elizabeth Taylor to cater her birthday party that she was having on Cap Ferrat. And I don't know what birthday it was. I don't remember. It was like 50 or 60. I really don't remember. But it was a big birthday. And she was having it on Cap Ferrat in the south of France, which is right next to Nice. And one of the cooks came into our kitchen and said, I heard you have an American here. And my chef wants to know how to make barbecue and pecan pie. And I was the only American that anybody knew that worked in a kitchen in Nice. And so Roger Verger sent for me. He sent a cook to come get me, to bring to him, to tell him how to make Texas barbecue. Well, I didn't know how to make Texas barbecue.
I knew that was coming.
Texas barbecue, but I was an American, so I must know how to make barbecue. So I made it up. I called my mom. I said, how do I make barbecue?
It came through. They didn't know the difference. They hadn't had it. So it was a big bluff. That's funny.
But I did know how to make pecan pie, and I did know how to make cornbread. And you have to remember, like, this was so long ago that, you couldn't buy ketchup. You couldn't buy Cairo syrup or what's the other thing I couldn't buy? I couldn't buy pecans. They didn't know what pecans was. I was trying to explain to the chef what pecans were, and it didn't exist in France. He didn't know what I was talking about. So my mom had to pack all the stuff up in a box and ship it to France so that I could do this birthday party. And it was the barbecue sauce was probably an epic fail.
Did they eat it? Was it all gone?
Everybody ate it. They were all French. They didn't know what barbecue was either.
So you got past them. Okay. I'm just thinking about that. Okay. All right. The final question.
Yes.
What question didn't I ask you that I should have asked you?
Let's see. You didn't ask me when my big opening party is, or why I want you to come to Trimper Rides, and if you're a cook out there, why I really need you to come help me with my Nana's Hot Chicken stand.
So when is your grand opening?
It is next weekend. And
Okay.
anybody wants to come and look me up and come ride a ride or help me
Okay.
make
And they have like a little card. There's a pass, a cardless pass for the ride. So
Yep, we do.
they can do that.
So we just went to a POS, so we've gotten rid of paper tickets. We have very big, wide walkways in our park. We're encouraging masks outdoors, indoors. They are required. So if you want to ride the carousel, you do have to wear a mask. We spray all our rides down as soon as everybody gets out of the car. We are keeping all of our guests 6 feet apart with social distancing. We're seating where the rides are close together. We're seating every other ride. And we're only allowing members of the same family to ride in the same car. And I have a little secret, a little tiny secret.
Okay.
We are getting one of the biggest attractions that Maryland has ever seen. And I can't tell you what it is yet, but I can tell you that already 4 trailers out of 13 trailers have arrived. And we will start to build the ride on Sunday this weekend. And we're going to be building it all next week. And by next weekend, when we have our grand opening, a secret ride that has never been in Ocean City, Maryland before. And it is a very large ride. And I'm going to be very excited to
I can't wait.
Maiden voyage next weekend.
Okay, folks, you heard it here on the Food Enthusiast. So if you're heading down to Ocean City, you have to find Antoinette. Antoinette and I could talk probably forever, but she is so busy. I'm surprised that I've gotten this much time from her. Antoinette, I thank you so much. All the best. And people, starchefs.com, Trimper's Rides. Check it out. You got the farmers market. What day is it down in Ocean City?
Farmers market is every Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay,
and we're going to
great.
run it until Thanksgiving.
Sounds like a plan. I am so thrilled to see you. You look fabulous as always.
Nice
and
to see you,
it looks like you found the lipstick. Private joke, folks. Private joke. Thank you, Antoinette. A big.
Lovely to see you, Dara. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And let me talk about Meals on Wheels once again. For 60 years, Meals on Wheels of Central Maryland has provided nutritious meals and personal connections for so many in our community in the good times and in the challenging times as well. To apply for meals, volunteer, or make a donation, go to mealsonwheelsmd.org. And before I forget, Jay Moore is going to have a virtual J-Biz meetup featuring Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot on Tuesday, June 23rd at 4:30 p.m. here on Facebook. Mr. Franchot will discuss the economic impact of COVID-19, the outlook for Maryland's economy, and his thoughts about moving forward. Details and registration are at jmoreliving.com/JBiz, B-I-Z, meetup. You know, if you want to reach me, folks, the email is food@jmoreliving.com. This will be up on the Facebook page for perpetuity, as well as jmoreliving.com. As always, I appreciate you sharing the show with your friends, bringing them in to see the show or sharing the videos. This has been a great fun. It's actually been almost 6 months since I started the show. How we've all grown. So thank you so much. Until next week, may your plates always, always remain full. See you next week.